think we are live now. Let me just check the... See, I believe we are live. Let's wait for a couple users to come in. I'm going to post this in the Telegram chat.
Yep, I just got the notification we are live.
Okay.
And I'll grab that link and drop it in Cardano Official.
Okay. Going to drop it in Cardano Effect.
Episode 60.
Yes.
All right.
Powell, how are you? First today. Craig, how are you doing today? How are you doing this morning? Redman. Sean, sound is good. Perfect. Matej, how are you doing? We're going to start momentarily.
The thumbnail shows up as 56. That's okay.
Okay.
It just grabs the last thumbnail. It thinks, hey, this must be the right one. Let me throw it on there.
Senyo from Ghana, how are you doing? Mikel, hola. Matt, how are you doing? Thanks to everyone for joining us this morning. It is Sunday morning on the East Coast. Rick is on the West Coast, but...
Yeah, it's early morning in San Diego.
Yes. I'm guessing it's evening in Ghana. Josh,
Senyo,
how are you
hi
doing?
from Ghana.
Big Mello from the Philippines, how are you doing? Thanks to everyone for joining us today on a Sunday. We know you could be doing other things, but we appreciate you spending some time with us. It's going to be a very relaxed episode today. We have some things that we need to talk about. LM, how are you doing? Mikel, Holland, okay. Okay. Rick, do you want me to start off?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm ready. Thanks.
Welcome, everyone, to the Cardano Effect Podcast, episode 60. The purpose of this podcast is to take high-level developer information and projects that are occurring within the Cardano space and break them down into bite-sized, consumable pieces of information for everyday use. I'm your host, Philippe, and let's get this podcast started. So we have a very special episode today. It's not because we have a guest, but it is a special date. Rick will be announcing it very shortly. I want to thank everyone for joining us on this Sunday. This is our live stream episode where we recap all of the news from the past week. So we go to the Reddit. I'll drop the Reddit thread in the description below, but we also interact with the YouTube comments. So we know we had a big week in the Cardano community. So we are here to talk about it. We are here to answer some questions, whatever questions we can answer. And remember, everything that we say on this podcast is gold until it's proven otherwise. So if we say something incorrect, please, an expert, come on and correct us. So without further ado, none of what we say on this podcast is financial advice. Remember, you are your best financial advisor. And if you don't think you are, you need to find someone who's qualified to do so. Rick, how are you doing this morning? What's going on? What's happening?
Hey, Philippe, doing great this morning. Thank you for asking. I would like to give a special thank you to IOHK for sponsoring this podcast. We very much appreciate your support. I would also like to give a shout out to our viewers and listeners out there. This podcast is available on not just on YouTube, but on all major audio streaming services and over 50 different apps. We are not on TuneIn yet, so we're looking into that one. But we are on everything else. So all major apps. And thank you all for your subscribership and your listening. Our big announcement today was that this is the Cardano Effect's 1 year anniversary. It's the Cardano Effect birthday, November 16th. It was Saturday. That was yesterday. 60 episodes in 1 year. Good job, Philippe. Well done, man.
Great job, Rick. Great job.
All right. And thanks, everyone, for the past year of support. I can't believe it's been a year so far. It's gone by very quickly. We've had many, many guests, and we very much appreciate our guests. Philippe has a list. You want to give us a quick rundown of all the visitors we've had this year, guests on the program?
Yeah. So thank you to everyone for watching. But a year ago, Rick and I got together, started this podcast. Charles suggested that we start a podcast, and ever since then, we've loved it. We have great synergy. We really enjoy working with each other, and we look forward to continuing this podcast for as long as we can. And as the podcast grows, we're reaching a larger and larger audience. But here are some of the guests that we have had on the Cardano Effect podcast. I have a list of 60 people, and there may be some people that I forgot or wasn't able to grab from the YouTube titles. But here are some people. We had Nicolas Aqueros, Charles Hoskinson. Charles Hoskinson actually came on a couple times. John O'Connor, Alan Verbner, Philip Wadler, Darko Michik, Nikola Glumak, Matthias Bencourt, David Roundtree, Daniel Friedman, Manuel Chakravarti, Dionysis Zindros, Florian Bonnert, Tobias Futse, Bruno Botello, Shinsuke Murasaki, David Esser, Duncan Coots, Neville Freeman, Ravi Patel, Daniel Lepping, Gilad Waxman, The Crypto Lark, Agalos Kiayas, Lars Bunyes, Polina Vinogradova, Tomorrow Hassan, Kwame Ragunda, Florian Manderscheid, Philip Kant, Jared Cordowan, Vassal St. Dabov, Eddie and Sebastian from Gig, that was during the summit, Marcus Herney, Hashoshi, Umed Saidov, Elliot Zareski Williams, David Esser, Robert Kornacki, Alex Sankov, Sam R., Samuel Leathers, Alejandro Garcia, Ruslan Dudin, Andy Hendricks, Maki Mukai, Neil Schoof, Simon Thompson, Caitlin Long, that was a big episode, James Kelly, Nalorian, Mario Larangera, and some of the recent guests that we had for the Stake Pool Operator episodes, Mark Eystein, Merrick, Johnny, Kyle, and Old Crypto Geek. So we had those guests join us on the podcast, a lot of guests, and hopefully we have a lot more coming. We may have a special guest this week. We don't want to announce the name yet because it hasn't been finalized, but I think the community will look forward to it, and we'll see what's going on. So thank you everyone to your support. It's our 1 year birthday. Actually, it was 1 year yesterday, but we appreciate you.
Yep, and we should know by Tuesday, anticipate a release on Friday if we get confirmation on the next upcoming special guest. And our Cardano UK Telegram group, I would also like to thank Josh and Luke for being the normal dudes. They are practically Ant and Dec. So there's some kind of inside joke there. Ant and Dec, that's Josh and Luke, LG Bino and Josh Monday. Yeah. So they passed me that message. Thanks, guys. There's the message. It happens sometimes. I'll give you the shout out. There it is. I don't know who Ant and Dec is, so we're going to have to find me to say, I'm Pickle Rick. I'm Pickle Rick from Rick and Morty. Okay. So we're going to get to the Reddit thread in a little while. Philippe has a lot of information for you because of the balance check just came out. He's done a lot of research, a lot of thorough looking into it. Later on, we're going to get into the Cardano subreddit on top this week and go over the news for this week. But Philippe, you want to lead us off on the balance check dataless wallet, some of the issues people have been running into and what you know about it.
Yes. So this week was a big week in the Cardano community. On Tuesday, we had our first snapshot. And once again, there are two snapshots that are going to happen before the incentivized testnet. So the second snapshot is the final one. This one was just for a balance check to check if people's seed words were activating correctly and making sure the balance of your testnet ADA reflected the balance of your mainnet ADA in your mainnet dataless. So Tuesday was a snapshot at 1200 UTC. And on Thursday evening Eastern Standard Time, depending on where you were in the globe, IOHK and Emergo simultaneously released the testnet versions of Daedalus and Yoroi, respectively. And basically, it is a separate download for Daedalus. It's called the Daedalus Balance Check Testnet. You can find it at stakingcardano.org or staking.cardano.org. Staking.cardano.org. I don't want to give anyone bad links. Please just visit the Twitter, the IOHK Twitter. They'll give you the official links and just click those links. And for Yoroi, it's a separate Chrome extension, or if you have Firefox, you can download it as well. It is just a tab that you download from the Chrome store. And once again, go to the Emergo official Twitter for those official links. I'm sure there are scam links already, so make sure you go to the official source and download the official version.
Output HK. Sorry.
Yes.
Input output HK on Twitter. Make sure you use
Yes.
that. And it's in the pinned message in Telegram, Cardano Official.
Yes. Yes. So once you download that, you're able to put in your seed words. So depending on what kind of wallet you have, it's accessible for paper wallets, and as well as if you have Daedalus regular wallet and a Yoroi web wallet and a Yoroi mobile wallet. So depending on how many seed words you enter your seed words and it reflects a current balance into your testnet ADA. And that's it. You see an option on Daedalus to open up a rewards wallet. You don't have to worry about that right now. This was just a balance check to make sure that, say I have 100 ADA in my mainnet account, I should have 100 testnet ADA in the Daedalus testnet version. There have been some issues. So Charles has put on his Twitter that there have been over 1,600 logs. So if you are having errors with your Daedalus, you can open up a log or a support ticket and send the feedback to IOHK. I highly recommend that. The more information and feedback they get, the better the product is going to be, and future iterations are going to be smoother and smoother and smoother. Some people have reported that they're missing balances. So the correct balance has not been reflected in the Daedalus testnet. And Darko, I believe, in a IOHK video said that if that's the case, take a screenshot of your mainnet address and then your testnet address and send it to IOHK. Remember that any ADA funds that you added to your wallet after November 12th, after the snapshot, they're not going to be included in the first snapshot. So they'll be included in the second snapshot, but not the first snapshot. So you still have time to add ADA to your wallet if you'd like for the incentivized testnet, and it's going to be a one-time thing. So anything you add from now on, it's going to be reflected while you're staking. So this first one was just a balance check. Also, people have had issues actually logging into the Daedalus platform, the Daedalus testnet platform. And I've spoken to Rick about this, but sometimes it's just a brute restart that you can do and just force restart it, restart your computer maybe, keep on trying to force yourself in. Eventually, you'll probably get in. There's also been some problem solving with Windows 10, turning off Windows Defender and trying to access it there. You do as you please. I don't want anyone turning off their antivirus if they don't feel comfortable. But sometimes that was an issue. Rick, do you want to speak on how the experience was for you on Mac?
Yes, but first of all, I'd also like to add that if your wallet stalls at some percent, some people reported it stalled at 49% and started counting backwards, or it stalled at some percent. Try leaving it on for a long period of time. Mine stalled. So my Mac OS X, as soon as I launched it, bam, it was working. Everything was running fine a couple of days ago. Then I launched it yesterday after I heard reports of errors, and it went to 20% installed. Someone on Twitter, I think it was an IOHK person, they said, let it sit for a while, because what's happening, it's not really a problem with the wallet in that instance. It's a problem with the other end, where it's getting the blockchain from, and there's too many requests. And by having too many requests, the other end isn't serving up the blockchain as rapidly. It puts them in a queue, and then the wallet has to wait its turn until the queue opens up, and then it will receive some more blocks from the blockchain. So what I noticed is I left mine open for a very long period of time, about 8 hours. And after several hours, it went from 20%, then all of a sudden it went to 40, then it paused. Then it went to 72% and it paused. Then a couple hours later, it went to 100% and it opened up. So something with the queuing and receiving the blockchain from the other end is also an issue. So it's no cause for alarm. That's why it's a balance check. There's two learning processes going on. On the user end, we are learning how to use it, because this balance check, post balance check, it's going to be hard fork. When you put your ADA, you don't put your ADA in there. There's two simultaneous instances of your ADA. It exists on the mainnet, and simultaneously the fake ADA, fondly known as Theta, the Theta exists on the testnet. Okay, so you got real ADA and Theta over there on the testnet. You're not at risk of losing your ADA. You don't send your ADA. Philippe touched on that in some of his videos. If you have any questions, please check out Philippe's videos. They're very instructional over on the Philpa channel, and he explains a lot in there. But if you do have issues, please submit your logs. If it stalls at a certain percent, try letting it sit. If the percent counts backwards, I don't know what to do because I didn't have mine count backwards. Probably a restart and wait, maybe. If you learned something, please let us know. We'd be happy to know. And you can also let us know in chat. So if anybody learned anything new, let us know in chat so that we can pass that on to others.
Just a quick tip for dataless users, you can also go to your logs, go to the statistics. I'm not sure which tab it is. I'm blanking out right now. And you can click restart node. That's worked better for me than just manually exiting and reopening it. So maybe that gives it just a little extra kick in order to force yourself in. But yes, and also people have been telling me that you can also check it within Yoroi. I tried restoring my mobile in Yoroi and my web wallet in Yoroi, and I didn't have an issue. And then you could check your data list. I haven't done that personally, but it's an option.
Yeah, I think the restart node is the best way to do it because it's more graceful. It does what it was designed to do. If you just exit the wallet, you're killing a process while it's in the middle of doing something. But if you hit restart node, it properly puts things where they belong before it shuts the nodes down. Hey, I'll tell you something interesting I learned yesterday, Philippe, after I talked with you about the wallet thing there. The back end of that testnet wallet is Jormungandr. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah. I launched it. I was like, okay, so what's wrong with the wallet? And I launched it. And I was reading some of the stuff from Pryank over in the Cardano community tech support, and he's getting stuff fixed. So Pryank is pretty amazing. And so anyway, I launched the wallet and I looked in there and at the process, I wanted to see how much memory is it consuming? Is it connecting to the network? What's the network bandwidth look like? And see if I could figure out what was wrong with it. And I saw Jormungandr running because I'm also doing Jormungandr test. And I thought, what's Jormungandr doing running? So I shut down Daedalus and Jormungandr disappeared. I launched it again and Jormungandr came back into existence. So I started checking into it and I was like, oh, it's using Jormungandr for the back end. So that's pretty cool. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm not surprised that there are a couple of problems there because that is due code. And also another really cool thing is that the balance check Daedalus is 100% new code, 100% new code from the original Daedalus that was released in 2017. So completely new code. There may be some issues, but I'm glad they did the balance check. I think that was a smart thing to do because then you can say, okay, we find out the problems with ADA that doesn't count, right? It would concern me though. I'd be like, where's my ADA, right?
Yes.
Or where's my FATA? Where's my fake ADA, right? But then that's why 2 snapshots totally makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I was a little concerned at first, and I thought, well, at least it's on a test net. So should we check chat and see how
Let's
things are
check
going?
chat. Let's check chat. I'm sure we have some questions in there. I'm going to scroll up. Let's see. The first question I saw was from Sajan. After first balance check, I move to a new wallet, or after second snapshot, it's better. I find it troublesome to keep moving twice. That's really up to you. It's user discretion. If you feel like you are very secure, maybe you don't even have to move it. But if you feel like you want to take extra security precautions, then you can move it before. You can move it after the snapshot, of course, not before. You want to make sure that your ADA is recorded, and there will be a grace period after the snapshot before staking starts. And I think Charles touched on it in one of his AMAs as well. This will give the time for the staking pool operators to make sure that they're up and running and everyone is ready to go. So there'll be a small grace period between after the second snapshot to staking. I anticipate that will be all staking within the incentivized testnet by the end of the year. But the second snapshot is projected to be at the end of November. So maybe we'll be staking first, second week of December. I don't know. Rick, do you have any better estimates?
No, I think so about that time too. I'm thinking sometime early December, mid-December is when you'll see it operational. The stake pool operators are going to need some practice using real quantities of stake. Right now, we use something called a faucet where we just extract a number of ADA out of it. And we're using that for target practice. It's great target practice. But once we go testnet with the actual user's fake ADA, FATA, And then they're going to have to practice, okay, how do I operate this pool using actual numbers that reflect reality? Because right now it's not realistic. Like right now I'm running a node that has 1% of the stake. That's not very realistic. And also it'll give IOHK the opportunity to find out what happens when the stake is so broadly distributed. Because right now the stake is distributed among either 128 nodes or 150 nodes, depending on which test net. Right now, there are 2 simultaneous test nets going on for Shelley. So when that happens, when we go to the user's stake, you're going to have a really broad diffusion, and we're going to have to see how the network responds, how the protocol responds. The network part is pretty much very well taken care of. Now it's the protocol side that needs to be looked at. So that's the only thing I had to add. I hope that fit appropriately.
Yes.
Okay.
Stake pool operators, I just wanted to add that we're learning as we go as well. So it's a growing process for us, and there are bumps and bruises along the way. So although you feel like you're not getting enough information from certain staking pools, trust me, we're trying to figure it out, just like everyone is trying to figure out their balance check. And this is why it's a test net. This is why we don't know what's happening. This is brand new technology. So we're adjusting on the go, on the fly, and things may look like something on Monday and they may completely change by Friday. But know that we're in tune, and we're going to make sure we get you the most up-to-date information. And most of the stake pools are operating in your best interest.
Yes, and we plan to have another stake pool operator episode next week where we get more and more advanced as we go along and go deeper under the hood with the stake pool operators and getting their inputs on that. And there was a question from Michael in here, and he says, is restoring a rewards wallet and moving our testnet ADA to that wallet necessary? No, it's not. Only for the first snapshot. After the second snapshot, it will be necessary. You will have to do it. If you notice, I use Daedalus, for example, and the initial address when I put it in the balance check wallet starts with a DD, like the traditional Daedalus. When it says transfer to a rewards wallet and you hit the transfer button, it generates a new address scheme that starts with ADDR. I like that. It means address. Common sense. I like that. Yeah. And those ADDR addresses are the rewards addresses. After the snapshot, if your is not in an ADDR address type, you're not going to be able to stake. You're going to have to stake. Oh, another cool thing, I looked under the hood of Daedalus. I was looking through the database and the files. There is a database file in the current balance check wallet that has stake ID in it. So they're already planning on it. There's already technology under the hood that's going to enable the stake pool IDs.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. I hope I answered your question, Michael. And if you guys have any feedback for us, let us know in the chat. So is restoring rewards. Yeah. After the second snapshot, you certainly have to do it if you want to stake. You're going to have to move to the rewards wallet. Any other questions in chat for now?
Marcy says, I have my ADA and Daedalus, but did not do anything yet. I am still okay, right? Yes. I mean, you can do your balance check right now if you want, or you could do it on Monday. I don't anticipate the second snapshot is going to happen until the end of the month. So you have, I don't know, maybe a week or two to check your balance if you want to. And if you don't want to check your balance, that's fine as well. If you're confident with your seed words, it will probably be reflected in the after the second snapshot. So there's it's not obligatory to participate in the first testnet snapshot, but it's good to make sure that you are ready to go for the second snapshot. I've participated, and I'll make sure that all my wallets are balance checked to make sure that I don't miss out on the opportunity once the second balance check comes out.
Yep, I'm doing the same. Good policy. Modern Neighbors makes note, just a heads up, if you buy more ADA for the snapshot through Binance US with debit card, you cannot withdraw it for 10 days. That also applies to like Coinbase. I like to buy on Coinbase and then move it over and trade and all that kind of stuff because it's fun. And there are time limits depending on how you pay. So some have a 6-day wait. Sometimes I hit a 6-day wait depending on how I get it from Coinbase. So yeah, there are
Everyone,
delays.
yes. So remember that you will not be able to uh, keep your ADA off of an exchange and really utilize the Daedalus and Yoroi platform if you plan to stake. If you don't, if you're not really concerned about that, then by all means keep it on an exchange. But I don't recommend anyone to keep any of their crypto off on exchanges. It actually, I mean, if you're trading, that's one thing. I mean, Rick is trading. That's wonderful. But if you're not trading, it really gives you a ease of mind if it's not an exchange, because whatever happens in that sort of news, you're just kind of doing your own thing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty interesting to find out what exchanges do. Where Binance offered it's like a 6% for holding your ADA in Binance that's annually, and then it matures after a short period of time. It's not 6%; it's some fraction of 6%. But it'll be interesting to see when Cardano goes full mainnet, staking percentages in place, how the exchanges respond to that to keep people on the exchanges and trading. I'm very curious to find out what happens when that competition kicks into play. Philippe, there was another thing I was going to hit on earlier here too on the podcast, and that was the strategy on how do you figure out what percent a stake pool should use or charge. And when we do our advanced stake pool operator episodes, we're going to bring up those subjects and more on how are you going to do business. Now, some people, they don't like to put out their business secrets, but I'm going to give you an example of what I plan to do. So what I plan to do to establish the staking percent is when it goes real world, once we're on real world mainnet sometime mid Q1, early Q2 of next year, is I'm going to set the percentage high, right? I'm thinking about 8%. And that sounds like a lot. And people are saying 8%, what the, but it's to work out the real world numbers. If I start high and then start working my way down and cutting it back and building up the pool, because if I start low, it's hard to go up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like if I start low at 2% and then I find out I'm running a huge deficit, and then I have to make a choice and I say, wow, at 2%, I'm operating at a loss. For example, it depends on the transaction load, and it depends on so many other factors that we don't know yet. It's going to be very experimental, even when it's real world. And I thought, well, in real world, what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to start high and then work my way down, because if I start low and you go up, people get mad.
Yes, yes, that is true.
And once you make people mad, it's like hard to get them back.
Yeah. No, it's true.
So,
And just to give you an idea, we haven't decided, my staking pool hasn't decided our stake pool operator fees yet. We're actually talking about it consistently. But when Rick refers to 8% or 2% or 5% or whatever percentage the stake pool operator fees charge, please note that, well, first I want to say that Coinbase just released Tezos staking, and they charge 25% of your rewards. Okay. So 25%, it's in the fine print. Go read the terms and conditions. So if you choose to stake with Binance or Coinbase moving forward, yeah, it's ease of mind, but I guarantee you, using a third-party staking service, you will be saving ADA. And it is of your rewards value. It's not of the balance of your wallet. So say you have 100,000 ADA. I'm just doing these numbers because I'm thinking on the fly and it's easy for me to calculate. We have a 5% annualized rate. So that means every year, if it's 5%, we know that the testnet is probably going to be between 6 and 12%, but 5%, you'll be receiving around 5,000 ADA per year. And let's say a staking pool takes 5% of that. So it's 5% of your 5%, if that makes any sense. So if you get 5,000 ADA, 5% of that, I don't know, 250 ADA you'll be paying to the pool per year to operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, run your own slots. It's actually more cost effective for you to delegate to a pool if you have set amount, because the chances of you winning slots within the blockchain are extremely diminished when you have a certain balance. That's the reason why pools are formed. It's to give you a better chance, the pool, the better chance of winning rewards and winning slots, and then ultimately everyone wins. So the key for these staking pools, Rick, I'm sure Rick's philosophy is the same and my philosophy is the same. Everyone is looking for staking rewards and trying to maybe live within the ecosystem. The purpose of delegating to a pool is for us to make your staking as passive as possible. You are performing work, but at the end of the day, you can go to sleep at night. You don't have to worry about whether or not your Rock Pi is sitting in your home internet and you had a power outage or anything like that. Let Rick's server solve that. Let my server solve that. We are up running all the time, and you don't have to worry about any of those things. You can go on vacation. You can do what you like and still stay in tune with the ecosystem. So I'm sorry, I'm rambling now, but I'll pass it back over to Rick.
Oh, no, you're not rambling, man. I love your rants, so just go, man. Just go for it. Yeah. The pool operators, we're also going to do the same thing. I think the general concept amongst the pool operators is they want to give you a set it and forget it experience where you don't have to worry about your ADA. You can just point to their pool and they'll take care of making sure the server's online and that things are working correctly. They monitor the network. They make sure the software is up to date. So that's what the pool operators are in general doing. I just call it set it and forget it. So you don't have to, most people, they don't want to be in there like, oh, I need to redelegate. I need to redelegate. I need to redelegate. People don't want to do that.
Yes.
I don't think they will. Now, there are some people who will because it's fun. It's like, hey, let me see if I can do better. And remember, it's going to take some epochs. It's going to take up epochs to elapse. I used 8% as an example. I'm going to try to refine that number based off of the testnet over the next couple of months and say, okay, where should I start? And then go down from there. And that's just an example. Some pool operators are going to start off at 0%. God bless you. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't operate at a loss.
No.
It's the pool got paid for itself. And also future hardware upgrades too. So you might want to consider that if you're going to improve performance or whatever the case may be. But most of the pool operators, all the ones that I've talked to in Telegram, their goals are generally 100% uptime or as close as possible, as close to 100% as possible. So if you can find a pool that can hit that 100% mark, the key parameters are network performance, network latency, and that 100% uptime. As long as they're hitting those marks, they should be performing quite well. I'll let the pool operators speak for themselves next week for the next episodes. They can give us some pointers, and maybe we'll have the hackers come back on again. They said once we get closer to the time and the protocols refined, they can help people figure out how to set up their servers. And Philippe, I want to put in one last plug.
Okay.
For anyone who wants to set up a pool, currently we're on version 0.70 baseline. There's two test nets. There's the beta and the nightly. They both work extremely well. They're both on 0.70 that just came out a few days ago. It is extremely good software. So if you're ready to learn, I highly recommend you get in there now and start learning while we have a lot of active people on Telegram. And there are experts that will help you out. Now is a great time to learn. Some people, Philippe, you know how they say, oh, we're looking for the big hitters to come along, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big business. We already got them. Those stake pool operators we brought on here last week? And all those stake pool operators that didn't come on here, like Pryank and Psychome and all those bubbas, there's so many of them, I can't name them all. They are the big hitters. They know how to run a pool. We don't need Samsung and Apple. We don't need them.
That's true.
We have the big hitters. They are here. You know them. You see them in Telegram. They can run a pool. They're running these pools for days and days and days on end. I'm seeing people in their pools for like 200,000 seconds. I don't know what however long 200,000 seconds is. But yeah, and it's not their hardware that's the problem. It's simply they'll run a pool for really, and they got to upgrade the software. Sometimes that's the only time they shut down their pool, just to do upgrades or maintenance.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
We have the big hitters. They're here.
Yes.
They're here. And another thing to think about is, next year, as competition goes up, communication will go down. They were like, I'm not going to help you. Not everybody. There will always be someone there to help you. But if you wait until mainnet to set up a pool, you might be too late.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to get pretty competitive. I have a feeling it's going to get pretty competitive, and I'm sure there's going to be some animosity between certain pool operators. I can already feel it. I taste it in the air.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be animosity. You know how like football teams, the best football teams, whether it's American football or European football, they get the best players have, they publicly compete. Now they show animosity, but they still shake hands at the end. Not animosity, but competition. That's just what they do when they compete. So you can have a fun and friendly competition. Like me and Philippe might have one. We're like, all right, I'm going to try to beat you, Philippe. Like, I'm about to try to beat you, Rick.
Yes.
Sound good?
Yes, that sounds good to me. That sounds good to me.
We're going to compete with each other, yet we're still going to do podcasts. I promise, Philippe, I will never get angry at you because you have a better stake pool than I do. That's
No, Rick and I are good friends.
I'm just going to delegate to you.
People don't understand that. People think that because we're portraying, we are very gleeful on our podcast, but I kid you not, we have the same relationship off screen as we do on screen. Rick and I have become very good friends, and I really appreciate Rick, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to meet you, and I've enjoyed this podcast, and we are very friendly towards each other on and off screen.
Yeah, it has been fun. You can't fake this.
No, you can't.
You can't. You guys have been great. All you guys have been following and leaving comments, man. We really appreciate it. You can't fake the good things, man.
No, not at all. Not at
all.
And
if you may not have noticed this, but Philippe and I are also critical of Cardano, but we just say it in a nice way.
Yes.
It's the same thing. We're just not jerks about it.
Yes.
You can be critical and be nice at the same time.
Exactly. And when we critique Cardano, when we're speaking behind the scenes, we have a certain tone, but we know that when we come on the podcast, there's a healthy way to discuss it. Just because you may be angrier face to face with some individual, and you may be airing out your grievances on the phone or however we speak off camera, we know that we need to put things in perspective and come on the podcast and really have a educated discourse, because yelling and screaming and no, we don't yell and scream. But getting upset about things and saying things, and there's a way to speak in different scenarios, and this is a way to have a healthy discourse and move things forward.
Yes, we can bring competitors on here. We can bring people on here that maybe we don't like, but we'll still bring them on the podcast.
Yes, exactly.
That's for the sake of everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to check questions in chat, and we do have a couple things. We got some Reddit stuff to go on. There's a lot of good stuff on Reddit too.
Okay.
What will the difference between operator A versus operator B, other than fee percentage? What other reasons would people have to choose? That's from Keyshore Mystery. So the other than percentage is uptime. In the Daedalus and Yoroi wallets, there's going to be a 3 or 4 letter tag for the pools, and they will be marked green, yellow, and red, or there will be some characteristic that you can look at and say that pool is performing well, and then you select that pool. The parameters are uptime and pledge, how much pledge the pool operator put. The pledge isn't locked, but as long as there's a significant pledge. Philippe, do you know more about that?
I've been
There's
reading a little bit more about that. I'm not sure I understand it completely, but apparently the operators, depending on how much your founder's fee is, or your founder's delegation is, it has some kind of significance onto the weight of the pool. But I'm not really understanding exactly what that means, because say Rick or we run into a saturation point. I don't know what that point is, and we decide to open up a pool, but all our stake is delegated to our primary pool. Does it mean the secondary pool somehow goes lower in the rankings? I'm interested to hear. I hope not, because we're offering a service, and if people want to use our service, I hope that you don't have to, because if you're delegating your ADA to one pool, you can't like remove that and put it to the next pool. I don't know. It's a little bit confusing to me. I guess we'll figure it out as time progresses.
Yeah. Oh, the cool thing is, is the current version of Jormungandr running on the testnet. It allows you to delegate to multiple pools, and it works. We've been testing it. So you can pick like 10 pools. I don't know what the limit is. You can pick a whole bunch of them. So if there are 10 pools, you can say, I'm going to give a ratio of 1 to each pool, or I can say, okay, out of those 10, I'm going to pick 5, and I'm going to delegate a ratio of 3, 2, 2, 1, and 1, and bam, there's my 5 pools, and it adds up to a number. It's a ratio, so you can delegate all of your stake in ratios to different pools.
Yes.
So let's say, for example, you like different pools for different reasons. Let's say you like one particular pool because they only charge 0%, and you can give them a ratio of 3. Then you like another particular pool because of what they do. They provide apps, or they do open source work, and you give them a ratio of 3. Then you want to do a charity. You can pick the charitable pool and give them a number 3, and then you some other pool, you give them a number 1, boom, and it just it delegates your stake and then automatically collects your rewards. So you could pick multiple pools for multiple reasons, and that functionality is already there.
Okay. And I'd also like to add to that question about what's the difference between certain pool operators, pool operator A to pool operator B. Rick was touching on it earlier about the set it and forget it. All pools are probably going to run into some kind of hiccups over the time, but you want to be delegating to pools where the operators are all into their pool. Like it's something that they're passionate about, and they're not going to flake out just because they hit a road bump. You could be sitting on a vacation somewhere in the world, and that if that pool went down, the operators are working overtime in order to make sure that it gets back up. And it's the pools that are running business models that are going to be those ones, not the 0% pools that don't really have incentive to make sure that their pool is running long term. Everything starts off well at the beginning, but we're talking about 3, 4, 5 years from now. The business pools are going to be the ones that are generating income, are going to be the ones that are reliable. The reason why people would want to delegate to a Coinbase pool or a Binance pool is because there's a team of probably 50 people working around the clock, and they're gonna delegate to those pools, even if it's a 25% fee, just because of the reliability. And you know why? Because they're running a business. That's the reason why. Coinbase is not running a 0% pool. Binance is not running a 0% pool. They're running a pool to generate profit. And as a result, they can charge you a fee, but that they're on top of the game. And if something goes down, you're going to get a nice email from Coinbase. We were down from 4:30 a.m. to 4:45 a.m. on Tuesday for maintenance. And you understand what you're getting with those particular pools. So know that, and support the businesses that are sustainable, and not always the one that the apple looks the shiniest, because everything balances out in the end. And over the years, it's going to be the businesses that are going to thrive if this ecosystem is supposed to be as good as it's going to be.
Yeah, and I already pay enough money to Coinbase. I ain't giving them any more. No, thanks.
Exactly.
No. I'm going to go with the small businessman. We got some real pros already. Yeah. We have professional server operators in the stake pool Telegram, and they've been on the podcast. You're good, man. I think we got a good team.
Yes.
So our local little guys, I have a lot of confidence in them.
Exactly.
I know. I've seen it firsthand for the last 2 months. They know what they're doing. Some of them maybe are still learning. See, that was a nice way of saying it.
Yes.
There was a couple other questions in here. Christian Zeldin asked, Rick, when Yoroi Testnet? It's already up. If you can take your dataless 12-word seeds on the mainnet and put them in the Yoroi Testnet wallet, and it will create an instance for the balance check. It'll show you the balance check. So the Yoroi Testnet is already up there. Thank you, Christian. I appreciate it. What else? Other questions in there? Then we'll hop over to Reddit.
Okay. North of Eden says, will the staking rewards dilute the value of ADA on mainnet, or has the value already been factored in on the network? That's a good question. I mean, the value being factored depends on trading volume, liquidity, and new investors actually investing in cryptocurrency or in Cardano. But staking rewards, it's basically the result of the Cardano ecosystem inflating. So it's a form of inflation. If you go to CoinMarketCap, you see the total supply, the circulating supply to the max supply, which is something over 40 something billion. And the unminted, uncirculated supply is going to be used for staking rewards. So the network is actually inflating over time. And once we use all those rewards, it's actually going to be transaction fees that are going to be used as staking rewards. So after we hit a certain point, the network will be quote unquote deflationary because people will be losing their ADA, ADA will be locked up, but it's inflationary until we hit that point.
Yes, I don't think it will. It'll have a minimal impact. It'll have a minimal impact because Stellar's doing it. Stellar just did space drops the last couple of months, and it doesn't seem to have. It had a very minor, if any. I can't even tell because I'm not a day trader. But Stellar had a very minor impact doing their space drop, which was a big jump in inflation. But I think the reason it will be a minor impact is because people are going to restake that new ADA. Yes. They're not going to dump it.
Yes, and there's no just for all the Stellar fans, there's no 50% slash in funds here, so there's going to be no burning of any ADA, which logically, I mean, for the investor, it probably makes sense short term, but long term, it doesn't really make sense just cutting money just because you decide you want to cut money. If you want to cut the supply, by all means, print out a paper wallet right now and burn your seed phrase, and then you can do your own version. But until then, if you're not cutting your own money or you're burning your own money, then there's none of that here.
Yeah, and if you want to see how inflation affects a token's performance, there is a token called 1x on the Saturn network that is a self-staking inflationary token, and they seem to be doing okay. I haven't been following it real close, but I do follow it a little bit, and it doesn't seem to hurt it. But it's not like Cardano, because Cardano is way more advanced in its own right as a self-contained protocol. That's what I should say. Is Cardano is a lot more advanced. So we'll see. We'll see how the inflation affects the process. I don't think it'll be much. Adrian Bell asks, Rick, can you give us an update on the global nodes being run at the moment? Have any locations surprised you? No. Morocco. Oh, yeah. Alaska. Alaska surprised me. There's a node running in Alaska.
Nice.
Iowa did not surprise me. I saw one pop up in Iowa. There's one in Morocco. That wasn't a surprise. Yeah, I think Alaska, that was the one that surprised me. Right now, if you guys look at Cardano.pub, there is a Cardano.pub. It shows a real-time map that's accurate plus or minus 30 seconds as to a node's existence or response on the network. And it may look like there are less nodes. Oh, well, on that website, it won't look like less. There'll be plenty of nodes on there because the guy who runs that runs nodes on both the beta network and the nightly. There are 2 test nets for Shelly on 070. There's more than 2. There's several. Those are the 2 main ones. And it's split. So on my live stream map, you'll see less nodes because there's maybe 100 nodes or so running on nightly. I'm running on nightly. And there's a bunch more nodes, maybe 150 or more, running on the beta test net. So it's kind of split, which I think is a good thing. Now we got 2 test nets running the same software. Pretty crazy.
Very
and we
cool.
still have a lot of nodes running.
Very,
yeah, I hope that
cool.
answered your question, though. All right. Anything else on there?
I think that's it for now. I dropped the Cardano.pub link in the description, and you can check it out. It seems like there's a battle between which continent's gonna run more nodes, Europe or North America. So just it's a pretty cool website. And once again, all the nodes are not shown because of that explanation that you only communicate with a certain web of nodes, and it's only what that web sees at one particular instance or one particular point of time. So
yeah, I'm not looking at the map right now, but Europe is definitely way ahead of the game. The score is very European continent is way ahead.
Yeah.
North America, we've got quite a number of nodes from Alberta, Canada, and the Montreal area, but there's a lot of regions in Canada need to kick in, and over on the west coast of Canada and Mexico. So we need Mexico to jump in the game and get North America to pull ahead and try to catch up to Europe.
Yeah.
Come on, Mexico, you can do it.
Yeah.
It's right down there. It's about 15. I'm about 15 miles from Mexico. I should go down there and start teaching people, man. Alejandro Garcia's from Mexico. He's the trainer. He's our trainer from IOHK.
He needs to run a node.
He needs to go around. That's probably his node we see on the map. It is pretty close to where he lives.
That is true. That is true.
So we'll see more popping up down there now. All right. So on to Reddit.
Yeah, let's go to Reddit quickly.
Okay. We're getting to that time. There's a good summary on Reddit. We're going to check that out.
Okay.
So we're on the Cardano Reddit, sorted by top this week.
Yes.
And what's our top post, Philippe?
It's Charles Hoskinson put out a tweet that says, "What's truly exciting about the recent releases is how fast we are able to move. Our scientists have done a remarkable job designing great protocols, and our engineers are able to bring them to market. Cardano in 2020 will be a beast." That was a well-liked Twitter statement.
Yeah, it's a beast already.
Yeah.
But it will be a freaking beast. It really will be. It's pretty amazing where it's at now to see where the testnet is at this point. And I know a lot of people are concerned about the delays since June of 2018. Here we are a year and a half later, and we're in testnet. But we're okay. We will wear our scars, and we have learned to be patient. If you're still with Cardano now, you're going to be here for a long time.
Yes. You're a soldier if you've been here for this long. And yeah, if we're destined for greatness, everyone here that's still in the trenches is going to be rewarded greatly. Not financial advice.
Yes. Not personal rewarding.
Yes, personal rewarding. Yeah. Personal.
And those the current dataless balance checks wallet issues that we see, there are issues, but because Jormungandr 070 is performing so well, and Daedalus is now using the Jormungandr backend, the balance check Daedalus, it'll be fine. I can say that with confidence. I apply confidence levels. That one I have a high confidence level. So we're good on that area. So that was a great tweet from Charles. I'm glad he put that information out. Always a great visionary, and I like to see his stuff. MM from Cardano.pub just telegrammed me and said he or she is running 2 nodes on beta, 2 nodes on nightly, and 2 RC7 nodes to generate the map on Cardano.pub. So 6 nodes to generate all those position reports of the nodes. Thank you for following up, MM. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. So our second one, Philippe, I love this one.
Yes.
Go ahead and do it.
All right, the Ethereum, this is from today's My Cheat Day. And the title of this is Ethereum Core Developer Says Cardano's Designs Inspired Ethereum 2.0. So it was a little Twitter thread between Gillian and Anti-Prosynth. And basically says he's one of the Ethereum developers. And he says, I do. Some of Cardano's design has inspired Ethereum 2.0. The question I can't answer is how Cardano is going to acquire any social capital or network effect by being a mild variation of Ethereum without community or developers. That's not maximalism, that's rationalism. So that was like a backhanded compliment slash diss at the same time, but we'll take it because Ethereum, apparently Cardano is so inferior to Ethereum, yet Ethereum 2.0 is using elements of Cardano's design in order to implement proof of stake. When they're saying that Cardano is just a mild variation of Ethereum without community. Well, we're doing this live stream right now, and this is our community here. We have a pretty large community. Not everyone comments, but there are a lot of Cardano enthusiasts and developers. Well, wait until Goguen release, wait until smart contract release before we can accurately have a discussion about that. But once Plutus releases in mainnet and Marlowe releases in mainnet, we're going to see how big the number of developers are for Cardano. And that's not maximalism. That's rationalism. So that's a rational answer. And we're being complimented and dissed at the same time, but it's improving. At least we're getting recognized.
You'll be able to compare Cardano community size and Ethereum community size after Cardano has smart contracts through a bull run. That's going to be the telling right there. Smart contracts through a bull run. What happens on the other end? That's where you'll find out.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't care if we got a small community. We have a well-informed, very smart community.
Quality over quantity.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So, when we're trying to build, when dApps are being built, Ethereum is great. I'm not going to diss Ethereum because I think that they've done something great. And I know they get slack on Twitter and a lot of flack on Twitter, but Ethereum is great. They've done what they had to do. But at the end of the day, no one that I know in the real world or people that are not into crypto have ever heard of any Ethereum dApp or ever using any Ethereum dApp. Ethereum has not brought over any person outside of the crypto bubble. So, while it's great, it really hasn't done anything. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it's made a lot of people money, but it hasn't done anything.
It has made people money. My greatest losses are on Ethereum dApps ever. Yeah, but not Ethereum Classic. Not an endorsement, not financial advice. But I've lost money on Ethereum dApps, and I've done okay on Ethereum Classic. Note to self. I learned from that. The smaller wagers, the smaller the loss. The bigger the wagers, the bigger the loss.
Yeah.
Or the bigger the gains, if you're smart.
And speaking about dApps, I'm excited because we've been in this ecosystem for quite some time. And when smart contracts release and when these dApps are being built, it's going to be interesting to see how we can use our ADA to invest in projects that are built on Cardano. And I think that everyone that is informing themselves, everyone that's watching TCE, everyone that's keeping in touch with what Cardano has to offer, I think that you're going to be in the driver's seat when it's time to reallocate maybe funds and invest in different projects and grow the ecosystem, because you're really going to have a background knowledge of what is what and what's going to pop. And it's a lot of the investors in Ethereum that may be invested in successful Ethereum-based projects had a leg up. They already had the knowledge base that they were building for years before those projects took off. So the projects that did great in the bull run that are ERC20 tokens, they knew exactly what was going on and what was real and what wasn't. And I think that, not saying it's going to be 100% hit rate, but you're going to be over the 50% hit rate if you really educate yourself now, get in the trenches, and know that this is not the last opportunity to build any sort of crypto bags that you want, but you can use this as a stepping stone to invest in future projects.
Yes. And developers love to write code. So, if they launch Plutus on Cardano, you're going to see a lot of developers jumping on Cardano. I'm already seeing developers on Cardano. I can think of at least 3 groups of people who are doing work in the Cardano realm, even at the basic level that the stake pools are at now. You have Codex Data Systems who made the Casper dashboard, the stake pool operator interface. So if you do jump in on the stake pools, make sure you grab some of those apps that the developers are already making. But when smart contracts come out, man, developers they're not gonna pick sides and say, oh, I'm only gonna do Ethereum. They're gonna be like, oh, well, I can do Cardano also. They can do both. They can build on EOS, they can build on Ethereum, they can build on Cardano, they can do it all.
Yes.
They're not going to pick sides, man. They're not.
No. And wherever the community is, yes. And if there's money in the community, there's going to be people that develop projects and ideas within the community.
Yeah.
So,
plus, if they can create something that does not currently exist, I think that motivates some of the developers, and they say, hey, there's a need for something over there. I can make that, and then people will want to use it.
It will be interesting. It will be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Mass Adaption says Hashoshi is the perfect example. Yes, he is. Hashoshi is a great example. Love his videos. Check out his channel. So what's our third one is from Reddit username. And they say that they've been following Cardano since late October 2017. These are exciting times. They absolutely are exciting times. They go on to say, who else has been following Cardano since you saw the whiteboard videos? All right. So if you jumped on Cardano after the whiteboard videos, raise your hand. No, you can leave a comment in the chat. I did. Philippe, I believe you did also.
Yes, definitely. Charles's whiteboard videos, I'm sure they brought 75%, maybe 80% of the people started building an interest within this project.
Yep. And we tried to get one of Charles's quotes from Larry King on our intro, but we couldn't. We got denied. So, we send out formal letters and emails requesting permission to use things. And even though Charles said it, doesn't mean we're allowed to use it.
Oh, that's terrible. Shout out to Larry King, but I don't know why you're doing that to us. We're no threat.
Charles says all kinds of awesome stuff. And it's like one of the most awesome things he said that I remember was he said, we don't have to go out hunting people down to bring them into Cardano. People are going to come to Cardano because Cardano is awesome. He's right. Yeah. That's not a quote. That's kind of like paraphrased, that's paraphrased. I'll never forget it. I'm like, if it is that awesome, you're not going to have to hunt them down.
Yeah. Look at everyone in this chat. I mean, yes, Charles's whiteboard videos are good, but it's not like he was putting any every door direct mailer in your mailbox. You are actively seeking out information for this project because you want to learn more. Charles is not actively soliciting Cardano. He does his AMAs, but he's not telling you to buy ADO or anything like that. It just seems interesting, and that's why there's tens of thousands of people that are involved with this project, if not more. So
yeah, he simply explained the vision and how we're going to get there. That's all he had to do. He explained the vision and how you're going to get there. All right, we got a couple other Reddit points in here.
Okay.
Balance check from Reddit user Stefan JJ. So balance check for the Shelley incentivized testnet. And there's a YouTube video posted for that link. Also from the balance check, that was the big news this week. That's why we hit on it early on. And Philippe gave us a more thorough explanation. So if you're just now tuning in, please watch the beginning of the video for Philippe's explanation on the balance check dataless wallet and the issues that are showing up there. There was an interesting one, Philippe. We like these. Cardano ADA is vastly superior to EOS, as posted by Reddit user low cap crypto. And that also was put out by Weiss on Twitter.
Shout out to Weiss.
Yeah. And there's a Reddit link in there that goes to Weiss Ratings Crypto Twitter, where they say that Cardano is vastly superior to EOS. Okay. Now that's an opinion. That's so just take it for what it is. I think there's a lot to be learned from EOS and say, how did they do it? Which direction did they go? And what tools have they built? Then how does that translate to Cardano? And how do you port those over to Cardano? So you can always learn from other blockchains. But I think the underlying architecture, based on what I've seen on the testnet, Cardano has already demonstrated superiority in decentralization. That is definitely there. And speed is pretty fast. So
Yeah.
Speed and decentralization, definitely superior.
And that being
probably equivalent. Yeah.
Yeah, that being said, EOS, I mean, I'm not a fan of the project, but it's probably going to be around for a long time as well. I think they probably solidified themselves in the top 10, at least for the foreseeable future. They've got a lot of funding and people are doing what they need to do on the EOS platform, but there's just better out there. And Cardano is clearly has a better vision and better long-term goals, but doesn't mean that one project's going to die and the other one's going to succeed or vice versa. I just compare it like blockchain projects can be compared to like TVs. You can go to Walmart and buy one of those like Sharp TVs with no resolution, or you can buy one of those Samsung OLED TVs. And, Cardano is a Samsung OLED TV, and EOS is a great value TV that you can buy at Walmart. They're still selling those great value TVs, but at the end of the day, you want a long-term vision of a company and a product that's going to improve over time. And that's no shade at the EOS community.
Yes. And no shade to them. And there's always stuff to learn from other blockchain projects.
Yes.
They successfully deployed proof of stake.
Yes.
And others have as well, Tezos and Stellar. I just don't completely understand how theirs works. But I do know Cardano's. There's another Reddit link to Tim Harrison's YouTube video from IOHK, and he talks about the balance check. You got to check out his videos. I really like him. He makes good videos.
Tim speaks so well. Oh my goodness. And his the video, it was so clear. I don't know what kind of lighting they were using, but I mean, Tim was like popping out of the screen and giving you just such clear instructions. It was wonderful. It was like a half infomercial, half like one of those commercials that they show you when you're boarding on a plane. But it was so informative, and you felt so good about downloading the testnet. Tim needs to do all those videos.
I did. So Tim, go ahead and make more videos. We'll watch them. At least I will.
Yeah.
I like it. I thought I was watching a British documentary, and it was brief. It was brief and to the point, unlike this podcast. We're going on an hour now, Philippe. If people are still watching now, y'all champions. You're still watching after an hour. You've got some endurance. Okay, a couple more Reddit points. Then we'll check chat and wrap up. Sound good?
Sounds good. Let's see.
Oh, Emergo's release on the balance check wallet. Please check out the videos from Emergo on how to do the balance check using Yoroi. I have not heard any complaints from Yoroi users. So the Yoroi balance check wallet appears to be going quite well. I hope I'm not mistaken on that, but
no,
that seems to be the case.
People are, I still think Daedalus is a good wallet. It's a great wallet. And I think that it's going to have a lot of functionality in the future. People prefer Yoroi. Some people prefer Yoroi because of the ease of use. But remember, it is a Chrome extension. It is an extension. So it's a much lighter version of what Daedalus is running. So Daedalus is probably going to have troubles before Yoroi is going to have troubles. There's a lot more back end to what Daedalus is doing as far as, and when you compare it to Yoroi, Yoroi is a great wallet, but they're two different wallet schematics. And one is a lighter version. One is a kind of a desktop version. So not saying that Daedalus should be excused for every single scenario, but you're going to have to be a little bit more patient with the Daedalus downloads than you are with Yoroi downloads in the future. I anticipate that it's going to be the case moving forward.
I think so too. And again, I'm not a developer, but moving forward, let's say a year from now, if you want to run a web page that displays stats, you're going to have to install a full node, either Jormungandr or Daedalus, which comes with Jormungandr, or some variant thereof, whatever that becomes a year from now. So Daedalus is a full node wallet. That's why it demands more of your computer performance, and it demands more of itself. That's why that's why you have more problems with Daedalus.
Exactly.
It's a full node wallet. There's a lot going on there, but at least the current one is that's a serious piece of software to have, that new Daedalus, all new code.
Yes, it is a serious piece of software.
Yeah, it may have some glitches now, but Philippe, I used Microsoft Excel back in the early 90s, and guess what? Microsoft Excel spreadsheet had issues back in the early 90s. You would do stuff and go, what happened? And it'll say, you've moved your mouse. Press OK to continue and restart your computer. And you'd have to restart your computer because of whatever crashed. We don't have to do that anymore. Oh, for those of you running, and for those of you who want to run a node, if you want to get involved with the stake pool and run a pool, what it appears to be is that it doesn't matter if you're going to use Windows or Linux or Mac OS X. All of the modern operating systems run well. And it's not so pick the one you like the best. Pick whatever one you want, doesn't matter. They're all good. They're all good.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed after listening and reading Telegram with the stake pool operators. So people pick their favorite and they go, oh, I like Windows best, or I like Linux best. Doesn't matter. You pick your favorite one. You'll be able to run a pool, whichever one you're most familiar with. Probably the best one to pick. All right. I like this from Shane Marquis in the chat. He says, I believe it was Andreas Antonopoulos who stated, we are not the early adopters. They come next. We are the lunatic fringe. I'm just pleased I am in early. I agree with that statement.
Yes, I agree with that statement as well. For Cardano, I don't think I don't agree with that statement for Bitcoin, but for Cardano, I do agree with that statement.
Yeah, Bitcoin's been around for a while, but remember, change takes 20 years, and Bitcoin has only been around for 10. That comes from the Ken Blanchard and Stephen Covey writings on managing change management. Change takes 20 years.
20 years.
Yep. That comes from people who've been around a lot more than 20 years. What's the maximum addresses that will show on the Yoroi balance wallet? I don't know. It's a lot. I don't think there is maybe there's a limit, but I don't understand what it is. Okay. Yeah. Last question there from Isaac Christian. Have you guys tried to set up a stake pool with multiple owners on the testnet? Is that possible yet? Definitely would like to know how to do that before the incentivized testnet comes out. A stake pool with multiple owners. I think what they mean is, let's say two of us want to set up one stake pool, and I have 10 ADA and you have 10 ADA. So we set up one pool and we both point our 10 ADA and say, this is our pledge. We're pledging 20 ADA, 10 from each of us. I hope I understand the question correctly, but I think that's the question. The answer right now is no. You can't do that. So if I have 10 ADA and he has 10 ADA and we want to pledge 20, we have to stick them in the same wallet. That's the current state.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if there is a technology that's going to be built. I do not know. You know what would be interesting? Oh, man, that's a brilliant idea from Isaac Christian. Let's say you have a high-performance stake pool and you wanted to get a sponsor for that stake pool. You could have them cover your pledge, and then you could sponsor them on your website. That was the audio technician told me about that yesterday, and that's kind of along the same lines. Like the audio tech told, or the video tech said that's something that we could do, and then Isaac kind of nailed it right here with how it would work. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm off on a tangent, and we're at the end of the hour here.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
So I hope I helped answer your question, Isaac Christian. Thank you for that question, and thank you to Video Tech for also pointing out that you could have a sponsor cover your pledge, and then you can promote that sponsor. That would be an example.
It would be.
Okay, yeah, Christian. I got his question. Isaac Christian. Okay. Anything else, Philippe?
I think that's it. I think, thank you, Darth Ada. Thank you, Mr. X. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone. This is episode 60 of the Cardano Effect podcast. Thanks for joining us on a Sunday afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are on this globe. This was a big week with the balance check. Balance check happened on Tuesday, the first snapshot. Then the balance check testnet download happened on Thursday. Once again, there are two snapshots. The second snapshot is the one that matters. If you're still having trouble, please go and submit a log. Incorrect balances, unable to access Daedalus or whatever balance check wallet that you are doing, you can access those logs. Once again, there are big things moving forward. Stay in tune. We're going to be releasing a lot of information on our individual channels and on the Cardano Effect podcast as well. Look for a special guest this week if everything goes right. We don't want to announce the name yet because it's not 100% guaranteed. But if that episode does happen, we should get it out by Friday morning. And yeah, I think that's it. Once again, this is our 1-year anniversary. So thank you to every single viewer of the Cardano Effect podcast. If you like what we've done in this past year, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really helps us out. We want as many subscribers as possible. It pushes your SEO rank up in YouTube. And when the next bull run comes out around, people are going to refer back to some of our episodes, check to see what our special guests are saying, maybe even check to see what our live streams are doing, and be incentivized to either join this ecosystem or help contribute. And that's going to benefit us all. So we appreciate you. Happy 1-year Cardano Effect episode, number 60. And thanks to all of you. We wouldn't have been able to build this without you. So once again, we appreciate you, and have a wonderful Sunday and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye, everyone. Until the next episode.